Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening for this year's Bardusch Family IdeaMakers Challenge. It's really good to see all of you here and participating and seeing students really come face to face and doing some things together, which is really awesome. And I just want to start this year with this idea of being thankful. And I had this last year because of what we kind of went through with a year of doing this remote because of, obviously the challenges that we had. And I saw the slide again this year and I thought, I'm still thankful and I want to continue to be thankful because this is an opportunity for us to come together in person and for students to really share their awesome ideas with everybody. So I want to take this time to thank Bob and his wife, Susan, for their gift to make this event possible. This was an endowed event as of last year and really helps foster creative ideas and helping students, again, really come together from different colleges and kind of bring their ideas to fruition. Susan is here this evening, so we want to recognize that she is also here with her friend Jackie. They're here having some fun and they're helping us out with the event tonight. But we really appreciate your presence and also for your gift for this particular event. It's very much appreciated. So the purpose of this, for those of you who are wondering, well, how is this different than, say, the InkU competition or some of the other competitions you might see around the university? And the purpose of this is to come up with an idea that leverages technology that really hasn't been thought of yet. And you might think, well, there's so many apps out there, or there's so many tech solutions. How could there possibly be any ideas left to be able to come up with? And so you're going to find out tonight, you're going to hear these ideas and you're going to see these kinds of solutions they've come up with. And you're going to think, wow, I didn't think of that. Lots of really interesting kinds of things that's going on. And how these teams got here tonight, we actually had almost 20 teams that submitted ideas originally, which then presented at the semifinal challenges. We actually have 7 teams tonight presenting. We normally have 5, but this year we decided that there were several teams that we really wanted to make sure they were included in this final competition. So you're going to see 7 teams presenting tonight. I want to take a moment to welcome our judges here tonight. Elizabeth King was going to join us this evening, but she had a family situation. She's not going to be here tonight, but I wanted you all to know how much Elizabeth has been a strong supporter of the Penn State in particular and IST. So we very much support what she's been kind of going through. So we also have Dr. Sharon Huang here this evening, and she is here as a representative along with our other judge. Sharon is a professor of IST and coordinator of our data sciences program. We also have David Hoza, who is a professor in the College of IST in our cybersecurity program. And as I said to Jayme, lots of students really like Dave and Sharon both. And so we really appreciate them being here this evening. Our keynote speaker is Jayme, and I'm going to be introducing her a little bit later. But just to give you an idea, Jayme is a founder in a number of different startups and is very passionate about the kinds of things that she's doing as far as empowering students and helping them understand their leadership qualities and what they can bring to organizations. So we're going to be talking a little bit about Jayme here in a bit, but we very much appreciate Jayme being here this evening as well. Okay, so the pitch format, if you're not familiar with this, it's going to be a 3-minute pitch format and then a few minutes of questions from the judges. I have 2 minutes here, but I might give them an extra minute or so if they have some good questions, but we'll keep it equal and fair for all teams. One of the things, teams, that just so you know, that's a little bit different from semifinals, we have some time cards over here to give you a notice of when your 3 minutes will be up. And as you know from semifinals, I kind of was the person that told you that you had to kind of stop presenting. So we decided to add some cards with that. So Michelle will be over here helping with that. Okay, so let's get started. And if team 1 can come up, you should all have the list of the 1 through 7 number. So when I kind of call team 1, you should know that is your team. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us.
Hello, hello, testing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Abelardo Sobarso, and this is the OOTD team. So the problem of wardrobe panic, it is that feeling where you feel like you have nothing to wear, but in reality, you do. And we experience this about 36 times each year. And just like our friend John here, John is a college student who struggles finding his fashion sense. He goes on the website and look for ideas and inspiration to find his own sense of style. However, despite his efforts, he struggles with the process of picking an outfit every day for any occasion. John is dressing up for a date. He has tried out 5 different outfits, but he's not pleased with any of them. So he wants to dress well in order to feel confident and sexy and to impress the girl to get that second date. However, he's frustrated with not finding an ideal outfit. And just like John, many of young adults experience the following problems. The average American spends about 17 minutes every day, which is a lot when you accumulate to 103 hours picking an outfit. As well as average Americans don't use 30% of their closet, which indicates a waste of money, space, and resources. Finally, 57% of them have demonstrated that they feel not secure in their clothes, which indicates that there's a lack of confidence. That's where we come in, OOTD, which stands for Outfit of the Day. We are a digital wardrobe app that streamlines the process of managing your closet. We experience in laundry, reselling, and outfits. This app makes it easier for you to view and create outfits without having to physically try them on. The app itself has also a social media feature which allows you to share outfits with others and get inspiration to build your own personal style. All you have to do is upload your clothes to the app and then use the outfit picker tool to choose what you want to wear. You don't know what you want to wear? That's fine. The app uses AI to produce an outfit based on weather and any other criteria you decide to give. The app uses a JavaScript environment to create databases for the user's clothes, connect them between cloud, and to manage in-app purchases. Our goal is to make fashion industry, fashion consulting more accessible, since the price point is between 100 to 200 dollars. And we also want to do the sustainable fashion industry to make shopping and reselling a more personalized experience. Our revenue model is composed of commission, in-app purchases, and ad revenue. These are some of our direct competitors, which are similar, but they don't have the images that they use are stock images, and they don't have any information about it. Together, they have 50 million plus downloads, which shows that there's a market for this app, for our app that makes you feel good and dress good. I'm open to questions. Questions?
Yeah, can you explain the concept of a fashion consultant in this?
Yeah, so fashion consultants are those that help you, that go with you online, like go shopping. You go shopping with them, and then they help you like pick out outfits from like any store that you go to. Or they can also like help you pick out outfits with the clothes that you already own. These are typically for people that have much more higher income, because like it's a privilege to have someone pick outfits for you, and they like base it off on the colors and how they match and how they fit well with like whatever occasion you're going to.
So they do this in person?
Yeah,
This
in
isn't a
person.
virtual? Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a virtual component to this?
I mean, all I've been looking for are this, and they only produce like random outfits based on like images, stock images, and they don't have any information where you can get this or how you can like combine it. It just gives you images, and then you try to put it together. So in reality, it's just you coming up with the creative solution.
Gotcha. And I have one other question. How did you get your statistics that you talked about in the beginning, the average time that a person?
Yeah, these statistics came from a study done by Trunk Club, and they're like a fashion research company, and basically, they created this idea of wardrobe panic because people don't tend to use all of their clothes. And I feel like everyone here can relate that there's that thing at the bottom of the drawer that you don't use, as well as like the time that you spend picking the outfit every day. That's also done through that study. Anything else?
I'll ask the questions. You mentioned several other apps that are perhaps in the same market. So I'm just wondering whether you can summarize what are the main differences between your app and these other apps and why your app would be better than theirs, for instance.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, these two apps are the closest things. And honestly, they seem pretty successful. They have over 50 million downloads between both Android and Apple. However, what they do and what other apps have tried is that they only throw images at you and they don't really like show what those images represent. Our app will be a combination of something like Google Lens and these apps where you have, let's just say, a shirt, and it shows you if it's from Abercrombie, how much it costs, and even will give you the option of buying it through the app, and that's where we get the commission to build your closet. And it's all integrated in order to like help you build a closet more easily.
And you mentioned AI. How can AI be used in this app?
So to test this theory, I used ChatGPT and asked it to build outfits for separate occasions. And it was pretty accurate. I told it that I need to go to the beach, but then I had to go to the club right after. And it produced exactly what I would need and how I would need it. So it would just be a turn of making a model that uses that along with color matching from other models.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This on? Okay, hello everyone. My name is Samantha Sanavasi, and this is Grace Alexander, my partner. And our team is Nittany Social. And in the left-hand corner is our logo at the bottom. Okay, so this is Emma. Emma is a freshman here at Penn State. She's just starting out. With 46,000 undergraduate students here at Penn State, it is hard to, find your group of friends at first. So, also with 42% of students being out of state, that's also hard for them to make friends. Our solution, so with Nittany Social, you create a profile, And then you add your interests and likes into the profile. And then students are able to view other students' profiles. And while this is happening, Nittany Social is matching the students together.
So this would be our revenue model. So our plan is to have Nittany Social have a partnership with Penn State where it would be mutually beneficial. So our app would gain recognition and people would know about it. And Penn State would have more of their students maybe engaging with more people and finding people out of their social group or in their social group to hang out with. So this is what a profile would look like. There are categories at the bottom that you can fill in, like how much of a certain thing you are, like a traveler, how much you party, are you outgoing? And then you can also add different things in your profile that you're passionate about. And you add just your standard information, like your major, where you're from, your name and your age, and a little bio where you can just add more information about yourself. And we would use Python to program all of this to just get, like when you put in your profile, to get people that match with you, or if you want someone that's not as similar to you, you can set that up and it will be able to match you with people that you are looking for and you can really become friends with. And these are some of our competitors, Friendly, ZBs, and Bumble BFF. So Friendly's is more of a world program, so you can connect with people who aren't at your campus, so that's what makes us different from them. And then Bumble BFF is more for people who are not in college, so just if you move somewhere new, you can look for more friends on there, while ours is geared to more freshmen starting college. And then what sets us apart is that we can suggest different places to meet based on your profile likes and dislikes, so you don't have to worry about that, because sometimes that is like what I have to do when making friends, is just making the plans, and that's the most difficult part of it. So it makes it really easy to do that. Thank you.
Okay, so this sounds like Facebook. What differentiates you from other social media platforms?
So like you said, Facebook, like there are also like Facebook groups, but for those you have to just like know what they are and find them, I think, and like find people on there who have similar interests to you. This will just match you up with people who have like similar interests to you. So if you don't have time to like scroll on Facebook a lot all day and look for people with similar interests, this will do it for you. And it takes like 10 minutes to set up a profile, and you can just open it again and find people that have matched with you and see if you match with them. So it just can make it a lot easier.
And can you just explain the revenue model in a little more detail? Like, is this going to be advertising?
Yeah, so our app would just be at Penn State at first, so it wouldn't have like a lot of people who know about it. So if it was associated with the university at first, then especially towards incoming freshmen, then people could download the app and then maybe tell their friends about it who are at a different school, and it could gain popularity based on that.
Thank you. So it's good to know that your app can do the matching, and perhaps you'll start with one campus. And you mentioned that maybe students from other campuses, they can download it too. That's scaling up, right? Can you talk a little bit more about scaling up your app?
So what we planned on doing is, starting at Penn State and then broadening out to other campuses. So we could partner with other universities, other branch campuses of Penn State to just make the app more known to more than just Penn State.
And with any social media platform, there's a start period. How do you try to get students to enroll? Meaning, warm up that social media platform at the beginning.
You mean like advertising it?
Yeah. How do you attract students to use your app?
So if we partner with a college, we would like them to also help us advertise. So, around university, Penn State University, they could have flyers or, talk about it, have it on websites, and I think that will attract students.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You did good. Theme 3.
Do you want to handle like any privacy concerns, like questions, or because I was going to ask one, but then does this group want to take those types?
You can ask.
Hello?
Okay, so next time you go first, and then I'll go. I don't know how many questions I have.
That's okay.
Oh, you can go first next time.
You know,
Okay.
all good.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Hey, Dave. How are we doing with question time? Are we going over or?
I'm keeping it around 3 minutes or okay, roughly 3 minutes. Like 2 each is perfect.
To each, okay. Okay.
You want to just switch lanes, go first?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
time? Okay.
Is that enough? Yeah, I'm trying to do like 3, 6,
Yeah.
roughly.
Okay. So next time I'll go first, then you, and then yeah. Okay. That's good.
Hi, everyone. Today we're here with our recipe to reduce food waste. This is our team. My name is Brittany.
I'm Minso.
And I'm Jude.
As we all know, food waste is a significant problem across the world. And according to the NRDC, American universities waste about 22 million pounds of food every year, which contributes to loss of resources. Currently, campuses like Penn State are using strategies to track kitchen waste data and composting excess food. But what are they doing to track individual data in the front end? And that's where we come in, Land Food Tracker, an app that gives food back and feedback. We use AI to gather data from the dining hall users and use that information to provide helpful data for kitchen staff.
Our primary customers are kitchen administrators. Based on the interview with the assistant director of University Dining Hall, they currently have the data from the kitchen, but they're still looking for more data from the customers. By using the Lion Food Tracker, they can make better informed decisions on their menu with the data. Our second customers are dining hall users who are going to take pictures to collect the data. Based on the survey from 60 students, we are going to implement an interactive feature such as leadership board and provide incentives to motivate students to use our application. This is our user interface of the application, which has a homepage that shows a brief statistic of users' activity, a camera, a menu page, and a reward page. This is the dashboard website for kitchen staff that contain various individual data.
There is plenty of opportunity for our app to enter the market, as food waste management market is estimated to increase at 5.8% in the next 5 years. So for our revenue models, we are intending to do a subscription-based service where our clients would pay a monthly fee, a value-added service, where we could also additionally provide things like extra data, consultations, and more to help optimize the dining halls. And in the future, when we have a larger user base, we plan to do a partnership revenue model where we can collaborate with businesses downtown. Currently, some other technology being used is primarily LeanPath at Penn State, which only focuses on one type of food at a time and is inputted manually. So it's sometimes not inputted at all. And for us, we help to try to focus on all types of food, and we use artificial intelligence to gather all the types of food, how much they weigh, and then put it all onto one app so that they can see how it all works together. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna go first. I just have a question or clarification about your revenue model. You mentioned subscription service. So if this is tracking food waste, what motivates people to pay you for this, for using this app?
So our primary customers are going to be kitchen administrators. So essentially university are paying us a monthly fee to gather the data of food waste to make a better decisions on their menu.
I see. The university and the kitchen administrators, they will be the customers that will pay for.
Yeah,
for
yeah, right.
Okay. And how do you, so do you use AI to link the pictures to actual food types and weight of the type?
Yes,
Is that
that's
what's
our,
your plan? Okay.
yes, that's correct. We're going to use the food type detection and the food quantity detection AI, so that when the users take picture, the AI will automatically calculate like the weight of the food and the type of food.
Okay, I can foresee some challenges. For instance, if there's, when people are throwing away the waste food, right? It can be mixed with other things, let's say plates and other type of weight. Do you see any challenge there?
Yeah, we found an API for the food type detection, but we're still looking for the food quantity part. The food quantity estimation is much harder than the food type detection, so we're still working on it.
Okay, thank you.
So can you clarify why students would take a picture of their food? Having a tough time understanding that.
Yes, so we did a survey of what would motivate them to take pictures and share their pictures. And the top answer was if the app is interactive and fun. So we're planning to implement a game and social media feature where they can compete with other people. Also, we're going to provide incentives, which are going to be free food from the university that can also motivate them to take pictures.
But how does that tie into food waste? If I'm taking a picture of my meal, where does the food waste part come in?
So you take pictures twice before and after you're eating.
Oh, I see.
So it'll calculate the type of food and the amount of food waste.
All right. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Hello? Okay. Sure, yeah, I can mess with it. Do I hit? Okay, cool. So, stay in the middle? I got the clicker right here. Hello, everyone. Today we're presenting our idea, Mealergies. I'm Caden, this is Adam, this is Winston, that's Sean. So on this slide here is just a few of the allergies that I deal with myself and have dealt with over the course of my life. And over the course of my life, I've experienced many severe allergy attacks, all due to the fact that I received misinformation on the ingredients and allergens that are present in my meals. Our idea seeks to correct this misfortune for those like myself. And our customer segment will focus on parents, families, friends, and those who are part of the millions like myself.
So our business idea aims to provide easy access to allergen and ingredient information in all restaurants, ensuring a safe and comfortable ordering experience for our target demographic. Our app will use machine learning AI to scour individual restaurants to identify potential allergens and provide recommendations based on safety concerns. Along with that, we aim to offer our software as a service to online ordering platforms such as Grubhub, DoorDash, and Postmates. The market opportunity for our business idea is expanding and large in numbers. Around 32 million Americans alone suffer from food allergies, and roughly 8% of those Americans are children.
So we plan to incorporate our solution as both a website and mobile application. As a website, the front-end design would be handled using both HTML and CSS, while on mobile platforms, the iOS platform would use Swift and Android would use XML. No matter what, all of the background processes and server communications would be carried out using the Node.js framework of JavaScript. And we would also have a SQL database server set up to store all of our data. Finally, Python would be utilized for all of the AI-related plugins for machine learning and other processes.
Yeah, so looking a little bit about how we're going to make money, we wanted our app to be free to anyone who wants to use it because it's supposed to be inclusive and it's supposed to be for anyone who suffers from allergies. So we wanted to focus on using promotions and ad-based revenue model. In addition, we wanted to offer our software as a service to online ordering apps who don't have anything that's sort of like this currently present. To list allergens when you're ordering online, it's essentially important. And yeah, looking at our competitor, really the only one that we noted was Allergy Eats, and they provide a service based on just purely customer reviews and don't really dive into specifics just on how friendly businesses are. Whereas oh, yeah, thank you. Sorry. Gosh.
So I got a couple questions. What would differentiate you from some of the apps that are out there now that track calories, and have you thought about doing that as well?
So specifically looking at allergies, because like myself, I've been close to death a couple times, and it's just because like I was unaware of the allergens and it wasn't presented to me in an effective way. This provides an extra security layer and safety measure for people like myself, and I could see us including calories and nutrition aspects, but we really wanted to focus on the security and safety aspect.
And how do you think you can reliably get data from restaurants about the contents of their food?
So he can talk to more specifics on the AI aspect, but we wanted to kind of surf the internet and their websites to find what kind of allergens and ingredients were present in all of their meals. And then we wanted to follow up with sort of inspections personally to reconfirm and make it even more tight in our providing of security.
Have you considered, there's a lot of work being done in blockchain right now. IBM's working on some projects where they can map for Walmart exactly where a head of lettuce came from throughout the supply chain. Have you thought about doing things like that?
I'm going to pass that to
We've thought about some technologies like that, and in addition, just with the power of new tools such as blockchain and ChatGPT, along with being able to track different sources, we would also be able to find like a lot of restaurants use obscure names for different toppings and different seasonings, and we could use AI to help determine what actually goes into these seasonings and so on, that would more accurately determine the specific allergens for each dish.
I have a question about assessment. So let's say if you have the app and it runs for a while, how could you assess the model to see, the AI model and also the information collected from restaurants? How do you assess success?
We wanted to incorporate a customer review section, so when people come to our app and they see, does this really work, they can see that it actually does work, because people will come on and they'll say, wow, this really helped me whenever I go out and I eat anywhere now. I can see all of the ingredients that are present, and it's based off of customer feedback.
Another question is also a follow-up to David's question. So how do you motivate restaurants to provide the information to you? In order to have accurate information, the restaurants would, if they cooperate, it will make things better, right? How do you motivate them to do that?
Well, restaurants are always wanting to be more inclusive. They're always wanting to bring business in. And if they can use this as a way to say, hey, we're really allergy friendly. We want you to come in and feel safe when you come and dine with us. This is just another thing that they can market and partner with us and say, hey, come check this out. We are very safe. When you come in here, we want you to enjoy your food and we want you to be safe and secure.
All right, thank you.
Hi, my name is Mehul,
My name's Gauri.
and I'm here. And we are Therapy Track. Therapy Track is your personal space. Now you might be wondering, why do you need a personal space? Over the past few years, there's been a 13% rise in mental health problems across the United States. And more than 300 million people actually face depression. There's been almost 50% higher stress levels, especially after COVID. And people from marginalized communities face issues in expressing themselves. After talking to therapists, we were able to realize that there's a disengagement between therapists and patients in between sessions as well. Now, after talking to a lot of therapists and users, we were able to see that journaling and gratitude journaling was one major solution to this big problem. Now, what are the benefits of journaling? Based on research from research papers, it's shown for 10 to 20% increase in optimism, better sleep quality, increased mindfulness, reduced stress, and an improved memory. Now, what are we? We are an intuitive chat-based format app that enables users to reflect and gratitude journal. We have activity recommendations for users based on what activities have actually helped them in the past for that specific mood of the day. We remove the disengagement between the therapist and patients by enabling the patient to actually share the journal beforehand, before sessions itself. Now, here's the UI.
So user opens their app and they get notifications saying that they need to talk about their day. This opens a chat-based interface where users can talk about their day and upload pictures to talk about themselves. This is like chatting with a friend. So this data is compiled from the chat and put into a gratitude and journal section. As you can see, the therapist is shown to be connected, so data is being shared real time to a therapist. The highlights of the user are put into a daily explore view, where users can see their highlights from the past month and reflect on their gratitudes.
Now, obviously, we need to see who we are targeting. So let's talk a bit more about the market. Our main market is going to be, let's start with the self-help industry. So we are actually a self-help application. The self-help app industry is $11.2 billion, and over 51.2 million people actually go to therapy. We are targeting Gen Z and working professionals. Gen Z for the issue of anxiety and depression, and working professionals mainly because of the issue of stress. Now, our revenue model is going to be a subscription-based freemium model with most of the features being free, except the recommendation system, which will enable users for activity-based improvements.
So our competitors, we have traditional journaling and two technological solutions. We are different because we are a chat-based interactive model. With the rise in generative AI tools, we believe that this is the future of journaling. So we are using Flutter for full stack, and we have our own machine learning model accompanied with our conversational agent, ChatGPT. We are using AWS for cloud support.
We have a team spanning across all majors. Thank you.
I'll ask a question about privacy. So does your app come up with some schemes to protect user privacy?
All user data will actually be protected as well, and we will not be sharing any user data in any forms of marketing or any forms to other agencies to target those users. So all the user data will actually be protected from within our application itself.
And you mentioned recommendation. So how do you collect the information whether the users took the recommendation, whether they did the activity recommended?
Okay, so we are going to start off in two ways. The initial way is going to be taking up a basic, we're going to have a small sentiment analysis running on the user's interaction with the chatbot itself and see what more emotion they're feeling at that point. And then we're going to use, we're going to have a data set as well, which is online for activities recommended for, let's say, someone's feeling, in general, they feel very anxious in that moment. And we recommend specific activities based on that data set itself and ask the users whether they've done that activity and how they felt after that activity. Now that's gonna, over time, that itself is gonna create a personalized experience for the user once our model collects all that information based on the personalized experience.
Thank you.
All right, so walk me through this a little bit. So I'm on your app and I've got some issues.
You want to go back?
No. I'm on your app. Who do I chat with?
So it's an AI chatbot. So you'll be conversing with, so the chatbot, so your initial prompt is obviously gonna be the chatbot prompting you to upload something you're grateful for, just to instill the positive vibe. And then you're gonna start conversing more about your day, which will help, which will basically help you journal and give you a guided journaling experience throughout your whole experience. So you're gonna be chatting with a chatbot itself.
Am I ever chatting with another person?
No, you're not.
No. Interesting. Okay. All right, that's all I had.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Shridi, and I'm the founder of Physio8.
Hi, I'm Urja, and I'm the co-founder.
Hi, I'm Narmad Rathod, and I'm the business lead.
My grandmother recently underwent a knee replacement surgery and was required to do physical therapy for complete recovery. Since a physical therapist was not constantly available to help and guide her, she ended up not doing the exercises as regularly as required and still complains of pain. Just like her, 35% of patients do not adhere to their plan of care. There are many problems with the current physical therapy process, some of which are lack of an extensive patient tracking system, overworked therapists, and the expense. Next. To solve this, we present to you Physio8, which is a mobile app that allows you to do physical therapy at home at your own convenience.
This is a demo of how our app would look like. It's going to have two sides, a physical therapist side and the patient side. The physical therapist will be able to select the exercises for the patient while also view a generalized report of how the patient is doing. On the patient side, all they have to do is sign up from a physical therapist's code, keep the phone at a certain distance, and start exercising with the AI monitoring them. This is a demo of the prototype we've coded up. We are using machine learning techniques to detect the angle between the legs. For example, in a leg raise exercise. As soon as the correct angle is reached, it's going to show at the top left in green that stage 1 completed. It'll be able to detect incorrect poses and also give feedback to the user to do it correctly in an audio form. So our initial focus is going to be knee replacements because it's the #1 most performed surgery in the US and requires physical therapy after that.
Our customer segment is a two-phase model. Our primary customers are the physical therapists and our secondary customers are hospitals. The physical therapists would be recommending the app to the patients who in turn would be our users. We plan to make PhysioAid a seamless interface between the physical therapist and the patient.
Cost and revenue. So the total cost that we're going to incur will be the application cost to develop the AI interface, the cost to onboard the physical therapist to our application, and integrating rewards program that helps motivate the patients to do their exercises regularly. And our revenue will be a subscription-based model. Our competitors are Kaya Health, in-person physical therapist, and PhysiTrack. However, our differentiator is that we focus on post-knee replacement surgery physical therapy using a live AI tracking system.
So this is how our project timeline would look like. We plan to work on it rigorously in the summer and launch an alpha version of it in August. We'll plan to process the feedback we get, pivot our app a bit based on the customer feedback we get, and finally launch it for everybody in Feb 2024. Thank you.
Would you need to get this approved as like a medical device?
Yeah, we need FDA.
How long would that take?
I guess like 6. So we need like people's data in order to show them that it's actually working. So first, once we launch our beta type version, and then we get the data, then we talk to FDA, and then I think 6 months to 1 year, and then we can get that sorted out.
And do you have any, I know you had some market research there. Did you have any market research regarding the number of physical therapists?
Yeah, currently there are 95 physical therapists per 100,000 people in the United States right now.
Okay.
And there are almost like, for example, we showed 800,000 knee replacement surgeries alone. Imagine the amount of joint surgeries which take place and which require physical therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this would be popular if you could get Medicare to pay for it. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, I have a question about the light AI tracking system you mentioned. So can you explain a bit more how that system works?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to? So, for example, this is a leg raise exercise. As soon as the angle between the both legs is 30 degrees, it's showing that on the top left right now. But as the patient might not be able to see it, so we are going to keep like audio with it. Okay, it's correct. And if it's not, like it's going to tell you, bring it higher, bring it lower. We plan to keep like continuous audio feedback to tell the patient to do it perfectly.
Do you need a camera?
Yeah, it's going to be on your phone. It's a iOS app which we plan to develop.
So the phone will be looking at, so your phone camera is here and the person
and you are
here.
yours.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. And you mentioned that you want to start with the post-knee replacement physical therapy. Do you foresee that your app could be used for other purposes?
Yes, definitely. We spoke to a couple of physical therapists who specialize in knee replacement, and they said basically for most physical therapies, the exercises are pretty common, like pretty regular. So after we manage and develop our AI for knee replacement, for if you have a shoulder dislocation or something, the exercises would be very easy to add to our existing AI.
We've just kept that as our initial focus because the market size for knee replacement is the largest in orthopedic surgeries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening. We are local Lion Favors.
I'm Max.
I'm Nick. I'm an IST major.
I'm Aiden. I'm an SRA major.
And I'm Sam. I'm an HCDD major.
So, as college students, we are under so much pressure to succeed academically that often when it comes to some basic aspects of our life, we find ourselves without the time, energy, or just will to get some things done.
Local Lion Favors offers a service for college students who struggle with finding time to complete chores outside of the classroom. We offer an app specializing in localized services for the state college area. This app will provide ample opportunities for users looking to make extra cash. The app itself serves as a platform where users can connect and find the people that they need to complete these tasks.
In terms of what we're offering, at least initially, is primarily internal like house cleaning and pet care, because we think that these are the main two things that college students would need to get done. We eventually plan to expand to things like lawn care or like external maintenance and things like that. But we want to initially try to shoot for like a college-based type of thing. So yeah, bedroom, kitchen, bathroom cleaning, and then stuff like dog walking and pet sitting. We think we have a market for this too. In 2021, nearly 10% of all homeowners decided to hire some sort of house cleaning service to take care of like any internal cleaning. And a lot of these tasks take a long time too, anywhere from like 90 minutes to like 2 hours if anything's like really messy. And especially in college, like for college students, men take on average 34 days to clean their room and women 25 days. And below we also have a Google form we had people fill out like regarding whether they would want an application for these types of tasks.
So IT is at the center of our app, as it will allow our users an improved efficiency, proven experience, and an all-around better user experience, since all the different chores that you could find on Facebook or Yelp are all in one localized application. And in order to create our app, we're going to use Glide and then Quick Charts to store our data and present it if we need to. And then compared to our competitors, Craigslist is another main competitor for us, as they're marketed to general unemployed population, and they offer part-time and full-time opportunities, while we're more localized for university students who can do it more gig-based when they have the time to and don't have to commit to it fully. Thank you.
These are our references that we use for like stats and stuff.
I have a question. So for instance, for some of these tasks, there are websites out there like care.com, angielist.com, and so on, right? Students could go onto those websites and look for potential service providers. Can you explain what will be the competitive advantage compared to an approach like that?
Yeah, so those type of sites, they're not really focused as much towards students, and we kind of want to focus ours mainly towards, at least for now, like the Penn State base. So yeah, that would be like our main differentiator, is like primarily focusing on things that students need. And eventually, like assuming we would grow, like then we would focus on expanding more and trying to incorporate more of those tasks that like average homeowners need. Because like right now, like especially in state college, like most students don't really live in houses and stuff like that. So that's why we're primarily focusing on the internal stuff and like the pet care stuff, because those are things that like we think students generally have more problems with.
And also, how do you connect to service providers for this kind of service? For instance, some companies, a company could build their business just on this to service Penn State students, right? So I'm just thinking, how do you connect to the service providers?
Well, it would be more like less of like connecting to a specific service, like a lawn care company, and more like connecting to other people, like in a DoorDash type of way, like where students who want to make an extra buck could just pick up like a quick opportunity. Like if they're like, I need an extra like 20, 30 bucks, let me go check it out and see what I can do for someone else, rather than just like connecting you to like a local like cleaning service or something like that.
I see. All right, thanks.
Can you go over the revenue model real quick?
Yeah, so like similarly to like the DoorDash model like we were talking about, like for each of the tasks, we're going to take like a flat, like sub 5% cut to like not like increase prices too much. So it'll be like anywhere from like 2 to like 3.5% for like each like transaction.
So would potential cleaners, for example, would they bid against others for the lowest bid?
To be honest with you, I haven't thought that, or like we haven't thought that far ahead. But honestly, yeah, probably something similar to that.
We had talked about maybe similar to some of those other DoorDash and stuff, having it's like a rating system. So people who obviously get better ratings on the tasks they complete, that would show up. And if you're looking for a specific task, you'd see a number of people. And if they're putting themselves out there for that task, you could sort by their past completions of similar tasks and kind of get a sense on what you're looking for there.
Is Thumbtack one of your competitors? Would be one of your competitors?
Did we look at Thumbtack? I don't think we looked at that. But if they do a similar task, I would assume would be a similar competitor. I think the main thing that we kind of looked to differentiate, as Nick said, was kind of like that student-to-student connection. So having, like you could go out and find a professional provider, but the ability to go out and find a student who's willing, and then making sure that they're obviously doing the work based on that rating system, maybe kind of helps with that connection, as maybe a student would be less likely to want to interact with a professional provider as opposed to another student.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay, we're just getting, the judges are going to retreat to a secret room down on the 4th floor, and they're going to be going over and deciding the rankings of the teams. I don't know about you, but so I didn't say this earlier, but I'm a Penn State undergrad, and I want you to kind of think back, for those of you in the room, that when you were an undergrad. This is pretty brave of students to come up and do this. You kind of have to think about yourself as an undergrad to come up in front of a room full of people to be able to do this. So I'm always inspired when I come to these kinds of talks and listen to our students do these kinds of things. So it's pretty amazing. I'm going to introduce you to Jayme Goldberg, who's going to be our keynote talk tonight. And I want to just give you a little bit of background about Jayme, and she's going to be going over some things with some flowers and some other things. Jayme is a Penn State undergrad also, from the Smeal College of Business, as well as the Schreier Honors College. She also has her MBA from Columbia. Jayme has been doing a lot for Penn State and Startup Week for a number of years. Jayme is the founder of Consequential Flowers, as well as a team that has developed an AI-based company called Bloom Radius. She really focuses on student empowerment and student leadership, and she's really passionate about helping students really become the best they can be. So we're very fortunate to have Jayme be with us this evening, and I think you'll really enjoy the talk that she's going to share with you. So thank you. You have your
Test, is that on? Forward, okay. And we just need, everyone needs the envelopes. Yeah. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I'm Jayme. I'm really excited to come back. I did graduate from Penn State. I met my husband at Penn State a very long time ago. I graduated in 1992. He graduated in 91. I met him at the first party that I ever went to here, and we've known each other for quite a long time now. He was always at parties, and I was always in the library, so we never really saw each other unless there was a lot of extra effort put in. We're handing out some envelopes now, and I wanted you to take an envelope with a pencil in it. And I'm going to start, before we launch into anything, I'm going to ask you a question to write something down. And then we're going to put that envelope to the side. If you have been interned with me, you know what the question is going to be asked and what you're going to put on the envelope. What we're going to do when we talk about this, how to thrive in the fourth industrial revolution, 4IR, we're going to talk about thrive and how you shape your brain to thrive. We're going to talk about 2, behaviors to thrive. And then 3, I am going to convince you that you, the students, are at the ideal time. Like, you're so well positioned to thrive. And that's what we're going to cover. Before we do, I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to write down on this envelope, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being very little, 10 being a whole lot, how much could a colleague with 10 or more years of experience learn from you when you first start working there? And if you've been out and working for a while, you could answer that question in reverse. How much could you learn from someone who just graduated? But we're really going to focus on the question, how much could someone learn from you who's experienced? So write that down. There's something they used to say right on the back of an envelope, and then that was like something, a quick down and dirty that you could come get to, and it was easy to understand. So that's what this envelope answer is going to be. I also want to make sure you have a flower, because we're going to need that for slide number 7. Okay? So on a scale of 1 to 10, write down on the envelope. Got your number? That's my Industrial Revolution flower. Okay, we're going to talk about thrive. The definition of thrive is to flourish or to grow vigorously. That's very different than just survive. So we're going to back to this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much could a colleague with 10 or more years of experience learn from you? The answer that I get with a lot of data, consistently statistically significant, is that young people rate themselves at a 5 on average, between a 4 and 5. And even this morning, I did a similar presentation, asked the question, what would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10? And the average of the class, some of you were there, was 4.2. So what we're going to talk about is what this mindset of being a 5 does, and we're going to think about changing it to a 10. How to do that. So that's the brain science. Now, the brain science is super important. It's just like if you play tennis or you learn to paint. When you learn to do something, you get really good at it, and you don't have to even think about it anymore. What happens, there's a psychologist, a PhD in behavioral economics, Nobel Prize winner, Daniel Kahneman, who published a book called Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow. And thinking fast is the way that he describes what happens in the back of your brain, like when something is a sudden reaction and you don't even think about it, like if you practice tennis and you don't have to think about it anymore, versus when you just start and then you think this foot is forward, this hand is back, and your brain is working. So what happens when you're thinking, I'm a 5, you're going into every situation with colleagues who are more experienced, or anytime you're with people who are more experienced, and your back brain, your automatic fast thinking is, I'm a 5. So that's very limiting to you. And it keeps you like maxed at a 5. So you've lost all this potential to even be above a 5. What happens when you go to the front of your brain, complex thinking. An example of complex thinking would be if you're standing on College Ave and you know that it's Friday afternoon at noon, and you know that your cousin is coming to visit for the weekend, and you also know that you're falling asleep and you need to have coffee, and you also need to go to office hours for your professor. And so you think to yourself, okay, what should I do first? If I go get my coffee, I won't be first at office hours, so then I'm going to be late and I'm not going to be in time to meet my cousin, and we'll have less time, and I'll be disappointed. So what you did is you ran this algorithm in your head, but that was the front of your brain, not the back of your brain, that was making that decision. It's a neural network. It's what AI is, how AI is modeled off of a neural network. So this is a video just to describe what's happening in your brain, because I want to have the point get really close. I want you to own this point. So the back brain is a 5, and you're thinking, I just need to learn everything, and my fresh ideas aren't going to be as valued because I don't have the experience. I haven't done this before. So you're thinking you're a 5, and you might have a question like, why is something being done a certain way? And that's a really good question. But you're not asking it because you've already limited yourself to be a 5, because you're automatic thinking, I'm out of school, I'm a 5. So what we're thinking about doing is switching that back brain to be a 10, and that happens with practice and also believing that it's true, and that's what I'm going to convince you of next. So we're going to move this to the front part of the brain, where you are going to be present in the moment, so that you can assess what's happening in a situation, and you're not going to automatically think you're one way or another. You're going to be in that situation, and you're going to think, oh, this is a brand new procedure that I have to do for compliance purposes with the company because they've had problems before and I must fill out these requirements. Or that, in that case, you're a 1. Or you could be with the company and they could be doing something that is completely slow, makes no sense, and you have a better way to do it. And then you bring up to them, well, why are we doing it this way? Have we ever thought of another way to do it? And that's being a 10. So what you were doing was being very present in that moment. You had the critical thinking skills, just like you did when you were standing down on College Ave and you were thinking, oh, I can't get coffee first because I want to be first in line to see my professor. So that same type of practice thinking will happen if you are aware that it's possible, and you're going to be present, and you will be able to make that assessment and adapt. So this is where you get to work on, unless you have an allergy, don't smell the flower if you have an allergy. But I want you to pick up the flower, smell the flower. And there's a reason that I smell the flower. When we understand our brains, that's very powerful because we can then work on our brains. So you're smelling the flower for a couple reasons. One is to remind you to be present. You have to be present in order to make that assessment. Am I a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 10? So you got to be there in the moment to do that. You're not present if you're just deferring to your back brain and sitting back and saying, I'm a 4 or 5 all the time. It's more complex thinking at the front. The other is that we have, especially at Penn State, we have banner ads, nature's banner ads. You know, I have banner ads online. There are flowers everywhere. So every time you see a flower, I know when people are after they've talked to me or worked with Consequential Flowers or Bloom Radius, they start sending me pictures of flowers. I have a PhD in education, sending me a picture of flowers. Look, I saw this today. I was present. And people are realizing that they need to be present. So you're going to see triggers all over the place of flowers and color everywhere you go that are reminding you to be present. Also, the sense of smell is the most important, powerful reminder. So now you're going to associate, we've mapped your brain to associate flowers with being present and using complex thinking, which will get easier and easier to do. You are not going to need to work on it. If you were standing on the street corner and assessing coffee, cousin, office hours, it wasn't that hard. It just happened. And that's what's going to happen when you're at work and you start practicing being on a 1 to 10. So I want this visualization to stay with you. It's being water, the properties of water. Water is fluid, it is adaptable, it is opportunistic, it's flexible, it's powerful, very powerful. So if you have this image of being water properties in your brain to be very fluid, am I a 1, am I a 2? It could even be in the same conversation, doesn't have to be different moments, and you adapt accordingly. That water is essential to thrive. And being able to adapt and be present in the moment and flexible from 1 to 10 is what is required in order to thrive. So this is really important. We talked about the fourth industrial revolution. And here's a third piece where I am going to convince you, if you're not already, that you are in an ideal time. And a lot of the presentations, all of them maybe had AI involved in them. I mean, that's really exciting. Machine learning and AI, fusion of people and machines and automation, that technology integration with life. That is the fourth industrial revolution. It is as big, or some people are saying bigger and more impactful than prior industrial revolutions. And I wanted to put this into context because we all have not been around for the other industrial revolutions, well, most of us. And if you look back, like STEAM is really, there's more things developed in each one, but I didn't go into all of them. I asked ChatGPT, which is the number one thing I should think of, and what picture should I use, and where should I get that picture? So that's what you see on here. That's how I used ChatGPT for this. But what you see is there's steam that came back in 1700s, and then electricity. Electricity, this is a power plant in Pittsburgh, not power, steel. And then the 50s to the 70s is the computer, and then that went on into the personal computer, of course, for later into the 90s. And now starting in the 21st century is the tech fusion. So I want to give you this example story of mine, a personal story about the number 3. In 1990, okay, this is being a 10, and I want to tell you how I was at 10, and I didn't know I was doing it, but but that can be replicated, and that's what I want to share. I had an internship beginning of the summer with a stockbroker's office in Pittsburgh, where I worked, and there was probably 20 people who worked there. And I show up in 1990, and I had taken a finance class, and they made us learn Excel. So I went to the computer lab, and I learned Excel, and I built spreadsheets, and that was nice. And then I went to my internship. And I'm in the middle of this office, stockbroker's office. They're taking securities, they're managing money in the stock market. And I was handed a stack of papers and a typewriter. And there were, like I said, 20 people in the room who they were stock traders, and they all had typewriters and a lot of phones, because everything was done by phone. And they handed me the papers and the typewriter, and they said, okay, here's the papers. We want you to type in all the closing stock prices for all of our securities that day. And I said, this is being a 10. I didn't say, why are you doing this? I said, do you have a computer? And it was just a question. So that question was not insulting, like, what are you doing? It's wrong. It was a question. It was an insight. Why? And that was having the courage, like, I wasn't a 5 back here. It was just sending it to the front and asking that insightful question. So lo and behold, they said, yes, we have a computer. And do you know how to use it? So I said, yes. So we walked to the middle of the room where 20 people were sitting around, and under a big plastic cover, there was a computer. So from then on, we put all the stock prices in, and then I'm sure it's been automated since. So where you are right now is in whitewater. You're like you're in a moment where computers are coming on like that, or like electricity. Like, imagine showing up at a company that didn't have electricity, and you knew how to be curious or how to be open thinking about electricity. Like, that's where you are right now. And that's really cool. So you're at the exact right time. So here's this really important formula. I made this up, modeled by H2O and water and Thrive, because we need to give the flowers, because I want you to leave with like a feeling, with like an AI sentiment word cloud. That's what we're creating here. So I made up this formula. There's, H2O is a compound made up of molecules, hydrogen 2, oxygen 1. So I thought, you know what, E to F, like E to F, they are in the alphabet. That's very memorable, low cognitive load, right? So it's easy to remember. And then what it stands for is that there's 2 experience atoms, and those are someone who has experience and their past knowledge, because that matters. Even if things aren't done the way they were, there's something You know, even when you're programming a model, it's something with what has happened that is informing the future. Also from experience, that same, I'll use it, person has a perspective on the future and a fresh perspective based on that experience. So they're not stuck in what was done. They're applying, knowing what happened before, applying that and letting it inform the future. So that experience, two perspectives, plus I call it the freshness factor, fresh perspective, you weren't around for that. When that combines, that becomes a compound, and that is an equation to thrive. The world needs you to go much faster. We don't have time for all the reasons that we know with climate change, everything, food solutions, all this can be tackled with this combination. It can be tackled much faster if you combine the experience with this freshness. So the reason that this 1 to 10 is so important is that when I'm going to give you the other perspective, when I ask senior leaders, they could be CEOs, managing directors, and this isn't everybody. I say, hey, and this was a survey, statistically significant, how much can you senior people learn from someone right out of college? Their score was lower than the self-assessment of the students. And I think about like why that is, and it isn't everybody. It's because I think it's attributable to the fact that no one treated them that way. So people are just falling into how they were treated. There's an exception. If you ask transformational leaders, Dr. Fusco is one of them, if you ask them, on a scale of 1 to 10, senior leader, how much could you learn from somebody right out of college? They always say, I can learn more from them than they can learn from me. And I force them to have an answer, and they say a 10. So finding people who are transformational leaders, that's where you're going to thrive. And a lot of people, when they go to companies and they're younger, they say, well, they won't give their idea, and then they look back, and the biggest mistake when I ask mostly women who are senior leaders, what mistake did you make? What would you change? And I don't guide them, it's open and a text question. The statistically significant answer is, I thought like in this one role, I stayed too long, and I thought I wasn't thriving because of me, but it wasn't me. It was my environment. They weren't getting the E2, and they weren't being allowed to be a 10, even though if they may have wanted to be or been capable of it. So you show up, this is another visual. You show up with this visual of you have color when you graduate school. You're not a blank canvas. So keep this very colorful image in your mind. So here's like a use case, an example of Jimmy Chin is an Academy Award winner, photographer, video movie maker. He's incredible, very well known and respected. And my sister, who's over here, saw this video and she said, this is 1 to 10. This is really perfect. And she sent it to me, so I have it and I want to play it for you.
It looks like 10 times as good. Sav is making my pictures look a lot better.
I was kind of surprised Jimmy was asking me for editing advice.
You just let me know what I can do to help you out.
Let's see, before and after.
Holy shitballs.
Savannah, she has an incredible eye and the potential to go really far with her work.
It's cool being here with Jimmy. You know, I have looked up to him since I became a photographer for a while now. And I'm just going into it with like open eyes of what can I learn. Friday.
So that's an example of EDAF. Now you know like what this really feels like and how people benefit on both ends. So I'm very much into sports, and I'm very, very inspired by athletes who take what they do on the field and apply it off the field, because I think everything is the same thing. And when you learn to be good somewhere, like all those skills are transferable everywhere. So I have this image, an animated logo of Bloom Radius. And this was inspired by Gwen Berry, who's a 2-time Olympian and world champion hammer thrower. And she's an advisor for Consequential Flowers. And the hammer throw, if you don't know, is a heavy weight, and you take it, it's one of the oldest sports, and you spin it around, and you have like this centrifugal force, and then you let it go. And when I interviewed her to ask her about like, how do you do a hammer throw? What are you thinking about? Like the words of being centered, present, grounded, strong, like in the center, that's like centrifugal force. And then with that center of knowing you're a 10 and what your passions are, you like unleash that out into the world. And what she said, like with leadership, she said, she wasn't talking about leadership, she was talking about the hammer throw. She said, sometimes, you can get hurt. And that is what it's like to take a risk and be out there and put yourself out there as a leader and be a contributor. So I wanted to make a word cloud of like all these words that I was saying and this feeling that I wanted to share with you to take away from here. And that is really, you first have to decide, like, yes, I want to be a 10, and then you practice it. You want to decide, I want to be very deliberate and intentional about being fresh with people who are open to that. That's really important. And it's also art. You can't do something the way anyone has done it before because you're you. It has to be different. It's much easier to do when you're passionate. Do anything well and excel when you're passionate. This is Baron Batch, an artist out of Pittsburgh. It was perfect for me, so I bought this, and it's hanging in my office. You're made to bloom, so I wanted to leave you with that. And I have 2 more slides, and then we'll wrap up. For people who have been with me on Zoom calls, they think I'm really, they thought I was really small because I've always stand beside this painting that's in my office, and it's my size, so they never see me before, and they think, oh, I'm only the size of a painting, but it's really the painting is the size of me. And I want to read to you, this is by Samantha Keeley Smith. I call this painting my business partner because it's like been my inspiration. And it's called More Than This. It's a very short description by Samantha of the painting. And it's relevant for all of us here. She says, to me, this painting means that although the times may seem dark and troubling, if we remind ourselves of what links us all in terms of dreams and hopes, love, companionship, understanding, respect for others as ourselves, we can find a way to make our world something more positive for all of us. It's about holding on to hope in times of turmoil and pain, believing there is more than this, that things will get better, that there is light on the other side of the clouds. I always try to show that hope alongside the turmoil. I think you can see it in this painting quite clearly. And in all my work with Penn State, everyone at every level, from the deans, professors, students, especially the students, you are that light for me, and I'm very grateful for it. And what I want to leave you with is these hashtags. So you're going to be present, you're going to bloom bold, and smash silos. A lot of the teams tonight worked across colleges. There is no silos allowed. They will not work. There is no thriving when silos are there. Food science needs to talk to technology, it needs to talk to women's studies, nursing. All of this has to converge and merge, and technology will make that possible. So smash silos and hashtag thrive 4IR. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Jayme, thank you so much. We are so grateful that you were able to join us here tonight. At this time, we are going to take a short 10-minute break, and then we'll reconvene in this room again, just about 10 minutes to announce our award winners. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, if I can get your attention, please. I'm going to share with you the winners of this evening's event. I just want to make a couple quick announcements. One, if the winners could just hang out for just 5 minutes, I promise. We're not going to keep you long. We're just going to take some pictures, okay? And I also would not have been able to do this event without Joni and Michelle. They've really done a lot of the work on the back end of this. So. Okay, so we're going to announce a couple different winners here, but I want to just share with you that a few years ago, we created a new award to be part of this particular event. And those of you who knew Dave Hall, he was a dean in the College of IST for a number of years. And, you know, a lot of people will say our beloved dean. So Dave Hall actually hired me, but he was really a great leader with us. And so the Dave Hall Award really is meant to be given to a team that really showed a lot of good collaboration, and they seemed like they just really worked well together. So this year's Dave Hall Award goes to Lion Food Tracker. So the judges recognized the strong teamwork that you all had together. So we're gonna, again, if you could stay here afterwards for a photo. And by the way, these are not necessarily mutually exclusive. Wondered if, well, if you won the Dave Hall, you weren't eligible, and that's not necessarily true. So just to kind of, as a reminder of the prizes that we have available, again, as an endowed scholarship form from the Bardusch family, we just want to recognize how much we appreciate these place winnings for that. Okay, you're all waiting for these final teams. So in third place, we want to share with you that the third place winner is Physio AD. Our second place winner for this year's IdeaMakers Challenge is Local Lion Favors. And our first place winner for this year's Bardusch Family IdeaMakers Challenge is Mealergies. So I just want to, again, thank everybody who helped support and make this event possible. And again, this would not have been, not been possible without all of the students having the courage to come up here and share their ideas with us. And very inspirational to me. I really love seeing the kinds of things they share with us. So, so thank you all again for coming this evening. I'll be up here as well as some others. And if you have any questions, but thank you again to our judges and Jayme for our keynote and everybody else that made this event possible. So thank you. Have a good evening.